Patrick Christie's here at Westmonster. I'm joined by Robert Oulds, the director of the Bruges Group. So you've just put on a fantastic event today with Jacob Rees-Mogg. You're obviously a Eurosceptic think tank, I suppose, aren't you? A thought tank. What's your feeling on how Brexit is going today?
Well, Brexit has a great deal of support, not just in the country, but also in the Conservative Party. At the Bruges Group meeting today, it was packed out with people who want to hear a message about, not just about Jacob Rees-Mogg and what he had to say, but also about how a real Brexit, a clean Brexit, can be delivered. So you had some great speakers that explained that to them, and this got overwhelming support from people at the meetings. It shows it's very strong within the country, but unfortunately the government Theresa May isn't delivering properly, making concession after concession to the European Union, and they know that in the negotiations it would always be Theresa May who blinks first. Ultimately it's for her to negotiate with the other members of the European Council, and it seems that negotiation really is agreeing to what the European Union says. What
do you really want from Brexit? If you could draw it up yourself, what would you want?
Well, we want access to the EU's market, just like other countries do. We want to have easy access through customs to get into the European Union seamlessly as possible. That's deals the EU has done with other nations, even other businesses around the country. They say, we'll get you through customs quicker. All we want is for a fair deal. But if they're not going to give us any kind of deal, but they're not going to get billions of pounds out of us, which we don't owe. The European Union has the Article 50 process. That's in their rules. We're abiding by their rules. And we're leaving the European Union. And under Article 50, once we're out, the treaties cease to apply. So we don't owe them a thing. And that's under the European Union's own rules. So we shouldn't be handing over billions of pounds. We shouldn't be extending immigration into this country when people clearly want controls for ourselves. What Theresa May is offering is this, there's going to be make people register. That's already possible under European Union law. They don't do it, but it's already possible. Basically, with Theresa May and her transitional deal, we will be members of the EU in all but name. We'll have all of the obligations, but none of the influence. This is not a good scenario to be in, and the European Union is hostile to Britain at the moment. They don't like that we're going our own way. So if we're going to be accepting the judgments of the European Court of Justice, they're not going to be in our favour. You know, we'll be losing our representation there, we'll be losing our influence, and they'll be making decisions which could well prejudice the UK. So we need to be free of those courts, we need to be free of the European Union's control, we need to go out into the rest of the world and make Britain a success. And that's what made Britain great 150 years ago in the Victorian era, when we didn't get tied up in the Europe and all its problems and divisions and conflicts. We went out to the open world and we made this country great. And we built great buildings off the result of the profits that we made, such as the town hall that we're in today. It was a great success of what Britain was like when it was a global nation 150 years ago. So let's go back to what's been successful for Britain in the past, and we'll make a success.
And do you think, just lastly, do you think that Theresa May has got the capability to achieve that for Britain? If not, would you like to see somebody else in her place instead? Have you got any ideas that might be?
Well, there's problems in the Conservative Party about internal discipline, as we've seen, and people not necessarily abiding to collective responsibility, although arguably Boris Johnson is just seeing through the policy in a more articulate way than what other people have expressed, and actually in a more sort of pure way. So it's not actually breaking the rules, but what we need to remember is that something needs to change. Theresa May needs to make the European Union think that she will no longer necessarily sign up to everything they say. But what can she do to do that? What can she possibly do to change the year or so of drift that we've had since she's become Premier? She should have introduced Article 50 a lot earlier, before the European Union had its chance to negotiate amongst itself and decide what it wanted to achieve. So we've lost the initiative, we've lost momentum. So basically she's in a very difficult position. She can't change what she's done in the past, but can change what's going to happen in the future. But the European Union will always know that Theresa May will blink first, that she will concede to what they want. So really, in that case, we then need a change of personnel. We need someone else, and a force that is that can't be accounted for by the European Union. They can't necessarily predict what's going to happen, that will stand up to them, and they will then have to think again. They can't just rely on Britain just giving way again. And so really that does mean a change in the leader of the Conservative Party, and it does mean sooner rather than later a change of who is Prime Minister. And this does need to happen for the Conservative Party's sake, because they have elections, local elections in May 2018. For the country's sake, it needs to happen now, because otherwise the European Union will exact a very high price from us. And it's a price we don't have to pay, we shouldn't have to pay. Theresa May looks like she's going to pay it. We need a new leader, a new Prime Minister, and they'll realise they can no longer push Britain around. And perhaps that new leader could be Boris, we know he's interested. Other people may be interested in Jacob Rees-Mogg. Whoever it is, they need to be firm on Brexit, and they need to start pushing the European Union around rather than just doing whatever they say.
Robert, pleasure to talk to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks.